And a very pleasant good morning. I'm London Mitchell. We are in contact this morning with Ronnie Bachman. Now, if you don't know Ronnie, and I didn't until just a few minutes ago, you're going to be impressed because we have a really, I think, exciting conversation coming our way. Ronnie is a motivational speaker with enthusiasm and just having met you this morning, a really exciting demeanor about you, but I got to let people know because this is radio, it's not television.
This is radio. Well, good morning, London.
But you're
unique. I'm a double amputee. I lost my legs when I was 4 years old due to a birth defect. And, from that point on, here we go. It's 1961.
How do you maintain, a lot of people get down in the dumps for a lot less
you're telling
than
me.
Being a double amputee, and yet your enthusiasm, your motivation for life,
well,
I can tell just
yes.
in the preliminary conversation.
Well, I love life, and, as a motivational speaker, I get the opportunity to speak to kids all over the country, and, I think it really boiled down to my parents, London. It was just there was no whining allowed. I had an older brother, Bob, was born perfectly fine, a younger brother, Bill, and go figure, I get it in the middle. And my mom just said, look, this is your lot in life. Yes, it's sad. Now that we've established that, you're going to go outside and find some friends. What are you going to do? I'm going to be gone someday. Your dad and I, if things go the way they're supposed to go, we're going to leave you before you leave us. How are you going to handle life? What are you going to do? And it was literally the metaphoric kick in the butt, get off the front porch and go find some friends and get going. I grew up on the northwest side of Detroit. Through the 60s, 70s. And, here I am today at 57 years old. Father, raised my daughter, Alicia, as a single parent. I now have 2 grandchildren, and I travel the country as a motivational speaker.
You talk to kids, and certainly there's no rougher time for a child than the teenage years. That's really when you start to find yourself. It's when you start really feeling comfortable about your personal identity.
Or uncomfortable.
And that's where I was going because the incidence of children self-medicating with drugs or falling into depression where they take their own lives.
The cutting.
Yeah, that is really...
It's huge. It's huge.
It's the big tragedy of our time.
It is. The school shootings. Again, the kids that are cutting, there's not as many parents at home anymore. I'm not going to get into a whole thing on my personal beliefs on this and that. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is there's the kid. There's the kid. And like a soldier fighting a war, I'm in the front lines, right? It's nice for the politicians to pass all the laws and legislation and make sure that we have the proper bills in place for bullying and whatnot. But who's there? Who's in that school? Who's in the gym there to receive the tears, the hugs? Ronnie. And the program's called Walk This Way. And it's a metaphor about walking this way through life with a positive can-do. I love me, I respect me, and I admire me. And in a 50-minute or 90-minute program, being able to take 1,000 kids in a gym and convey a message that there are no trade-ins. You are here, and you are supposed to be here. You bought that jacket last week. Maybe you like it so much. Maybe you don't like it so much. You can take it back. You can't take you back. You're going to have to face the facts that this is who you are. Whatever your circumstance are, whoever your mom and dad are, whatever dysfunction you come from, whatever is going on, you've got to find a way to cope with it and be able to face yourself in that mirror and fall in love with you and put one foot in front of the other, so to speak, and get moving in this thing called life. And that's the core of learning to walk this way.
What do you say to a youngster that says, I don't like me, I don't see a future? You say, fall in love with yourself, and you're only here once. You can't trade yourself in. But I just don't see it.
Well, that's where it's hard. That's where our teachers are so challenged, and our counselors that are there. Ron comes in for an hour and a half, blows the roof off the building, everybody goes crazy, blah, blah, blah. You leave the kids with Walk This Way bracelets, you hug them, you autograph everything you can, and you hope that when you leave that they say, man, that guy's been doing it for 50 years. I'm going to survive 7th grade. I'm going to make something of myself. But ultimately, when I'm gone, it falls on those parents. And I say to parents a lot, particularly in radio programs or people will call in, maybe the days of traditional things where you eat dinner at the table every night or you went to grandma's on Sunday or whatever, maybe those are over. But you know what? You're still eating dinner with your kid. So I don't care if it's in the front seat of your car in a McDonald's parking lot. Look at your kid and tell them that you love them, that this was no accident, that they're here, that you planned them to be here, and that no matter how busy you get, no matter how crazy things seem at times, they are the most important thing in the world. These kids tell me all the time, I don't want a new car. I don't want a new jacket. I want my dad to come home. I don't want my dad to see me every other weekend. I want my dad to be at my house every day, or at least as often as possible. I want my mom to do this. I want my mom to do that. Yes, we all had our struggles growing up. I'm a kid that grew up in the 60s, born in 57. I've lived through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 21st century. Is it easy? No. Is it tough? Yes, it's tough. Do I know bullying? Look at me, London. Of course I know bullying. But again, my mom, put a smile on your face, because that person that you meet around the corner who looks a little shocked when they first see you, that first impression is going to mean everything. And always remember something, kid. They didn't do it to you. It's not their fault what happened to you. And if you really want them to like you and embrace you, you better be the first one to smile at them, reach your hand out, shake hands with them, and try to get it moving as quickly as possible. The kids I see across the country that are left behind, they say, I don't fit in. I don't play sports. I'm not really good at this. I'm not really good at that. You're good at something. You are interested in something. So you try to find out what that is, get them involved in something. Yes, there's a bunch of kids out there that they need the counselors. They need that extra help. And we have those people that are in place in our schools today. Every school across this country has got counselors there that their entire life is dedicated and devoted to helping these kids. So it's a community effort. The Dodge 20 group. I'm here today in Ohio because next week I'm going to be in Monroe for Mr. Ralph Mahalik and the Monroe Superstore Dodge store down there. And this group of dealers, along with Linamar Corporation and Amigo International, these are companies that are sending Ron Bachman across the country, reaching out to kids because they love their community first and foremost. They do not want to pick up their newspaper and see that another kid has left us, or that a kid in Monroe or Toledo walked into a school with a weapon and took out 3 or 4 kids. So it's a group effort that we're doing. We started it in 2010. We're rocking across the country, and we've had nothing, I mean literally nothing, but amazing response from this thing.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back in contact with Ronnie Bachman. You've written a book.
I have.
Walk This Way.
Walk This Way, Life Lessons for Dealing with Bullies and Bad Times.
I was bullied as a kid.
With a name everybody.
Like London's britches are falling down. But, you get bad. I like the name.
Well,
and it served me well because it's kind of distinctive.
Right. You and I were talking before the show. My name's Ronald. So I got Ronald McDonald all through school. Well, you know what? That's typical na. Bullying today has gone to an extreme with cyberbullying, with kids that make up fictitious cyber accounts. I mean, some of these kids, they set up something where the kid doesn't even exist, and they go after one particular kid, and they're not saying London bridges are falling down or Ronald McDonald. They're telling this kid to go home and take their life. They're telling this kid they don't belong in this world. This world isn't for you. And they're convincing a beautiful, precious 12 or 13-year-old who maybe doesn't have the right motivation at home or the things that we were lucky enough to have, and they prey on that. And as a group, they convince that kid to start cutting or to drop out of school, or worse than that, say, you know what, I'm going to visit my grandma. My grandma went to heaven. I'm going to heaven. That's what's going on in our schools. When you and I grew up, there was no school shootings. There was a fist fight after school. And either the two guys either made up afterwards or they stayed away from each other. Today, it's on. And with the internet and the things that kids are exposed to today, it's way, way, way bigger.
Personal story. I'm in the 3rd grade. my grandmother has come to visit, and I come home crying because the cap, the baseball cap that my grandparents had given me, the bully in school had taken my cap from me.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. My grandmother is waiting for me when school is dismissed, and she says, "Where's the kid that took your hat?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "There he is."
Right.
And she laughed at me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. My grandmother laughed at me. I was so furious.
Mm-hmm.
That kid got a bloody nose like instantly. Yeah. I was angry that my grandmother, but she had a way with her to take interest in me and motivate me. Now, maybe you'd say to yourself, "Oh, my God, your grandmother laughed at you," but it was her way of motivating me, and she did.
Right.
Now, I don't advocate going out and beating people up.
Of course not.
But it was the first time that I really stood up for myself.
Here's my response to that, if I may. What would you have done if your grandmother wouldn't have been there, or you were a child that didn't have that kind of family support with a mom, dad, and a grandma, and that kid took your cap, and you're on that same ball field, and there's no one there for London?
I don't know that I'd have ever achieved the self-confidence to move forward.
That's the thing, right?
That was a defining moment, and I was in 3rd or 4th grade for me.
Absolutely. And look at you today, right?
Yeah.
Back to the book, Walk This Way, which is available on Amazon.com and at RonnieBachman.com. And it's a real easy read. I put it together with my friend Connie Kuhn, who's a writer, and I cruised around the country doing my program and making tapes and stories that kids would share with me. And we didn't use their names, of course. And then it of course, provoked childhood stories of my own. So we put it all together in 134, 135 pages. And I gave the kids some tips, baby steps. Here's how you start. Don't overfill your backpack, metaphorically. Unload these things. Talk to your parents. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to your grandma. Find someone that is on your team, right? Find someone. Don't unload with a friend. Don't try to go to another 12-year-old and think he has the intellectual ability to give you the answers that an adult can give you. That goes back to the parenting and the community end of it. The book is good. I'm very proud of it, of course. It's my first book. And again, I'll be out next week for Mr. Mahalik doing live programs in the Monroe area. I think I'm going to be here in Toledo as well. I don't know. We'll send you a list of where I'm going to be.
Yeah, please do that.
Please.
And the website again.
RonnieBachman.com, www.RonnieBachman.com. And, of course, the book is available at Amazon.com, Walk This Way.
And also you'll have a schedule of where you're going
to be. Well, if you go to RonnieBachman.com, there's a schedule of my appearances on there. Please, ladies and gentlemen, come out and say hi. Call Mr. Mahalik at the Monroe Superstore. Thank him for bringing a program like this to the community. Make arrangements. If you want to meet me, if you want to say hi, if you want to just tell me your story. If your kid isn't in the school I'm going to be at, contact the Superstore and we'll make arrangements for me to meet your child and have a Coke and talk. And that's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. And again, I know what I'm talking about. You said in the beginning, Ron, explain your circumstances.
You're a double amputee.
I'm a double amputee, and I've been a double amputee essentially my whole life. You know, it's funny, London, we ask the kids after the show. They'll line up, and my marketing folks or my manager, Erica Stevens, will say to the kids while they're getting an autograph from Ron, what was it about Ronnie? You know, Ronnie's 50-some years old. You're 13. Why did you go so crazy asking him to autograph your forehead? Why do you want him to sign your shoe? What is it about Ron? And overwhelmingly, it's not, oh, Ronnie's so cool, right? It's Ron knows pain. Excuse me? Ron's just like me. You have 2 legs and 2 arms. Ronnie doesn't have any legs. I know. But Ronnie's exactly like me. He understands pain. He knows what it feels like to have that kind of hurt and that kind of pressure. Believe me, nobody is more surprised and nobody is more grateful and thankful that I'm the guy that's doing this today.
You serve a purpose, Ronnie Bachman.
Thank you, London.
But does Ronnie Bachman ever get angry? Does he ever get mad? Does he ever say, why me?
No, I don't ever say why me. Those years I don't even know the few times in my life it would be like I'd be thinking, hearing my brothers argue over, they couldn't find their socks, right? Something like that. And I think, oh my gosh, here we go. I think, why me? And then the phone would ring. And it would be my girlfriend, or it would be my buddy Kim that would call.
You had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
You have no legs. You can't dance. You can't do things.
I have family. I'm divorced. I've got a beautiful daughter, Alicia. I've got 2 grandkids. I am the luckiest guy in the world, right? But that's the thing when you said, did I ever feel this way? Yeah, we're human beings. We all have these moments in our life. But I was too busy. I was too busy. Too much good going on to stay in any kind of funk where you're like, what's this all about? Now, you ask me, do I get mad? I do. I get mad at adults. I don't get mad when kids. I was at Fishbones the other night in downtown Detroit having dinner with my stepdaughter, okay? And, a little kid came up to me, where's your feet? And I talked to her for 5 minutes and gave her a Walk This Way bracelet. And, oh, my gosh, the sweetest kid in the world. 2 days before that, I run into a gentleman maybe 50 years old at a hotel who has a distorted face. You can tell that I'm a freak show for him. He's offended that I'm even there. And his question is, oh, my God, what's this all about? The hell did that happen? No. You don't get the opportunity. You don't get you're not lucky enough. You're not fortunate enough to have me stop and give you what I know I'm capable of giving you. If you're 40 years old and this is where your life has brought you, that you're still the guy to tease, laugh, bully, point, that it's somebody that is perceived to be less fortunate than you, I would say this. You look at that guy and you look at Ronnie Bachman, who's the person with the real disability? I'll argue that all day long, London.
We'll be right back with Ronnie Bachman when we continue In Contact. We are in contact this morning. I'm London Mitchell. My guest is motivational speaker Ronnie Bachman.
Ronnie is so friendly. He's so outgoing that he catches you so off guard, so fast with, hey, what's going on? Did you see those Tigers last night? Blah, blah, blah. That you are compelled to stop paying attention to what's gone and stay focused on the man that's here looking you in your eye and sharing a moment with you. Just because your legs are gone, big deal. They're a nice, convenient thing, I would imagine. But honestly, is that what makes you a good father? Is that what makes you a good broadcaster? Is that what makes you a good citizen? Give me a break. I'll take that challenge any day of the week.
So you're Ronnie Bachman.
Ronnie walked this way, Bachman.
Yeah. who zipped in here on his
Amigo.
Little device, his Amigo.
My Amigo.
But you're Ronnie Bachman first.
First and foremost, I am Ronnie Bachman.
The Amigo doesn't define you.
Of course not. It's my mobility device. It's, does your shirt define you? No, it's your spirit. It's you looking me in the eye right now, London. It's the friendship that we're developing, right? It's that moment between 2 guys sitting in a radio station that we'll remember each other. We'll never forget doing this interview. I hope 1 million people listen to it. But if they do or they don't, you and I, man, we connected. It's Ron and London, London and Ron. That's what I'm not looking down and see what kind of shoes you got on. You're no longer preoccupied with the 3 tires on the Amigo. You're looking Ronnie in his eye. We're talking here. We're both fathers or husbands or friends. We're community leaders or whatever we are. But first and foremost, we're human beings.
When somebody comes to you and they want to, or they feel uncomfortable. A lot of us feel uncomfortable around somebody with a disability.
Yeah, I know.
And I do a lot of work with the Board of Developmental Disabilities, and we go through training sometimes with restaurant waiters,
right?
Because the waiter will come and they'll come to the table and they'll say, "What does he want?"
Oh,
not talking directly to you or the person with the disability.
I'm sitting in a restaurant with my wife, and back in the 80s, and a server coming up and looking at my wife and saying, "Would he like something too?" Right? Or looking at me and talking loud to me and very, hello, would you like anything to eat? And you're like, wow, what the heck is going on here? I want a burger and some fries, man. Right?
Nothing irritates me more than being in a
it's offensive
area, or what everybody would call it, old folks home or a nursing home or something, where the staff is talking baby talk to somebody who is a member of the greatest generation.
He's a World War II vet and say, "No, come on, Mr. Smith, eat your banana pudding." Right.
Yeah, so we really need that sensitivity that people are people first. And you have written a book. You're a motivational speaker. You really have a tremendous outlook on life.
Thank you.
That you want to share.
I do, and I one thing for sure I know. Before I was a motivational speaker, and long after I retire from speaking, I'll always first and foremost be Ronnie Bachman from the northwest side of Detroit. Just because I go off the air and there's no more books or I quit public speaking, you will still run into me at Target or a restaurant. I'm still that guy that's going to go, "Hey, man, what's going on? How are you today? Da-da-da-da-da. Again, how's the Tigers? Oh, I went and seen Aerosmith last night. Blah, 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 blah." Whatever the case is, don't get so hung up on how someone looks. We're living in a time with a global economy. I do these corporate events where here's people with 2 legs and 2 arms telling me that somebody from India has got a cubicle next to their cubicle, and they don't speak English quite as well as them. So they don't know how to talk to them. They don't know whether they like the same things. Well, how about asking them? How about asking them? You want to go to lunch? They'll understand that, right? You want to go have a salad, a burger, whatever. Make friends with people. Don't be so afraid to put your hand out. Everybody around the world, give or take, sure, there's bad people. You'll see them real quick. They always identify themselves quickly. But the vast majority of the world is loving, caring people that are all searching for exactly the same thing: love, friendship, compassion. We're all in this thing together.
The most valuable thing that somebody with a disability tells me, and I work a lot, as I said, with the Board of Developmental Disabilities. The thing they want the most is a buddy.
Yeah.
Somebody
my
to
thing
pal
is,
around with.
I got more friends than you can shake a stick at, right? It's ridiculous how blessed my life has been. I've been in I've had so many different careers, and I've done so many things in my life. But the zest for life. Yes, our time's tough with a disability. Sure, the snow was deep. My Amigo was getting stuck. You're not having a great day physically, but don't you have bad days? Don't you have a bad day? Don't we all have those moments? Excuse me, where we wake up and we're like, "Oh, geez, it's one of those days." Yes, we have those days, but it goes back to the very beginning of this interview. Life isn't about how other people see you. Life is first and foremost about how you see you. I don't see me the way society sees me. I don't see me as some guy sitting up on a scooter or an Amigo with half his body gone. I see me as Ronnie Bachman, Alicia's father, Bob and Sally's son, Bill and Bob's brother, London's friend. I'm a motorcyclist. I'm a speaker. I play a little guitar. I do a lot of traveling. I'm about as social as you're going to get, right? I love an audience. I love to be out. The other night, just take off and head downtown Detroit and go hang out at Fishbones for a couple of hours. And the Wings were just getting out, right? The game was over. We won, blah, blah. Yeah, life is about living it.
And as we sit here talking across the table, I am not preoccupied by the fact that you're a double amputee. I'm really enthused about talking with Ronnie Bachman.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Ronnie Bachman, he's got a book. It's called Walk This Way. It's available on Amazon.com and also through your own website.
Absolutely. Ronnie Bachman. Right, RonnieBachman.com. And, you can find me all over social media, right? If you Google Ronnie Bachman, ladies and gentlemen, you'll find me. And I'd like to say, if we're getting ready to wrap this up, if there's a young person out there in this community here, they can hear my voice right now, promise me that you stay in the game. At least make it through today for me, okay? You have to promise yourself today that you go from this morning until tomorrow morning. If you're struggling because somebody's picking on you or somebody's bullying you, I'm challenging you to take the Walk This Way challenge. I want you to reach out to me, but first and foremost, I want you to reach out to your parents, your grandparents, whoever you know in your heart loves you. Tell them that you're struggling. Let it go. Get it out. Voice it And I promise you, there's so many people that love you and so many people that want you to stay in the game and learn to walk this way. Okay?
RonnieBachman.com. The next time you're down here in Toodly-Doo, I want you to call me, and we will talk some more.
I would love it. Thanks for having me on the air, London. Hi, everybody. Bye, everybody.
And that's our program this morning. Please feel free to tweet me at London Mitchell, and please join us again at the same time next week when we will again be in contact.